Okay, and it may still be true to this day, that trading was like walking on a tightrope. The reason why it was like walking on a tightrope is that I've experienced it so many times. What I would do is I would make my progress going from one side to the other side to a certain amount. Then a whiff of air would just come by and just knock me off and just go to the base. Then I have to climb back up and then get back on the tightrope again and keep progressing. But it seems like I could never get across. I could never get across because something would cause it to just knock me off and dump me off. That's what trading is like. It's like, now why is that? Why does it happen like that? Because not everything has been considered when trading. That's why something comes around and just knocks me off. Okay? Something even though I've made it to like all the way across and then all I have to do is take one step forward, something would come about and just knock me off. It's like one example is that I would have a challenge, a phase 1 challenge, and then I need 8%, and then all I need, and I've accrued it for like a couple weeks to a month, and then I would be at the point where I need the last $10, and then I would put a trade in, and then something happens, and then I would just implode, and I would hit my daily loss limit, and it would be over with, and the account is breached. It would do that, and so things trading used to be a it was very similar to walking on a tightrope. It really is. So what has changed? What has changed? So that means that what I need to do is make the walk. It is still a tightrope, but what I need to do is make sure that I have this balance bar, and uh, then I consider all the angles of what could happen when I make that trade. And so, one of the strong gusts of wind that could cause to happen is that, and I fall victim to this quite often. And what happens is just like gold and EU and UJ and the Nasdaq. What they'll do is sometimes there'll be a big streak of green or red, and so what happens is I would get like I would get like I would be drawn to it, and but the subconscious would jump in and just go for it. And then once everything's over, I realize, oh my God, I lost 4% because I jumped in, because I wasn't thinking, I wasn't processing what I need to do to consider the possibilities, all the angles that need to be analyzed in order to consider what could possibly happen to trading, right? So if I consider, and this reminds me of this actually reminds me of this reminds me of this conversation this guy had about, um, was it was it on Chat with Traders? My humble beginnings, my beginnings started with like vigorously studying up on Chat with Traders, and so this psychiatrist came in, apparently, right? This psychiatrist came in, and so he was working for a so apparently he was negotiating with this bank, and this person was holding a hostage in the bank, and then they brought this psychiatrist in for negotiations, and I think it was on a military base, and this military CEO came over to this psychiatrist and says, "Hey, look, we want you to negotiate this so that we can have the hostages released." And then the CEO told the psychiatrist, "But I've considered all the angles. I've considered all the angles, all the possibilities that could happen, and it will be addressed. All the angles will be addressed. Everything has been considered. Okay? Your job is to see if you can convince uh, the hostage negotiation to come to a conclusion in a nice way. But everything has been pre-formatted and packaged up, and it is it is all the possibilities, all the angles have been considered. So trading essentially is walking on a tightrope. It really is. It's walking on a tightrope from point A to point B. Now, uh, walking from point A to point B can be made into a consideration of a long, drawn out period of months, years, and with with a consideration of all the trades. Okay, that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years. I considered all the trades that I've taken for the past 5 years as a single trade. Okay, uh, all of it to be a single trade. Okay, so so that means that it was becoming a incredibly difficult situation because I would be prone uh, to mental fatigue, physical fatigue, and drawn into these three factors of trading, which is the physical fatigue, mental fatigue, and the addiction that comes arises from trading, especially with like day trading, like scalping kind of thing. And so then, in order for me to uh, enhance the solution that I provide to the market, I could do various things. One of them is to completely think about the possibility of what could happen. The other is to shorten the tightrope. Okay, what I need to do is shorten the tightrope. Okay, makes sense. If I shorten the tightrope, okay, if I shorten the tightrope, then I can get to the other side much faster to the stable ground. Okay, makes sense. Does that make sense? I came to this realization just today, after 5 years of like, but this is really just a mental kind of a thing that bridges between one side to the other side. Okay, what I'm looking for is safety. What I'm looking for is safety, saying that okay, so I'm on firm ground on this side of the tightrope because trading is essentially is walking on tightrope. That's all it is. So what I need to do is make sure that I have a stable position on one side, and I have to walk across it anyway, right? And so I have assurances of pre-formatted, thought out trade solution that will carry me from point A, one side of the tightrope, to the other side of the tightrope, where the other side is a firm ground. See, I had my first real job as an engineer in Arizona. And so me and my wife at that time, with our infant son, drove from Oregon to Arizona. And then Arizona has this deep gouge on Earth called the Grand Canyon. So it's far to the other side, okay? But on this side, it's a firm ground. But on the other side, it is also a firm ground. And I have to get to the other side. But imagine but imagine stringing together all these things from one side to the other side, okay? From one side to the other side on a continuous basis, okay? From one trade to the other, one step, next step, next step, next step, next step, next step, to get to the other side. It's a very, very difficult situation. It's not an easy thing to do, right? It's a very, very difficult thing to do, to go to the other side with numerous steps. But if I consider it as a consider if I but when I consider that when I shorten the distance, I can just take one step. Okay, so it'll be just walking. It's just walking. It's just walking across the tightrope without even stepping on the tightrope. I can just go firmly, just glide over it. Okay, bypassing the need to use that balancing beam, and then having to seriously consider the connecting factors between one trade to the next trade. All I have to do, all I have to do is take that one trade. That's why like S&B Capital talks about like one good trade. I mean, the guy named Mike Bellafiore wrote this book called One Good Trade, right? I read some of it, but I didn't understand it obviously because the sophistication that he used to create that book, I was not prepared to receive it. So now after like thinking about it, trading, gaining experience, and then putting things together and looking at all the pieces and putting it together to understand what's really going on, and me having to understand and using the analogy of the sawtooth, right? So a saw blade is this long and it has little notches on it, right? So I would make progress, fall down, notches, fall down, notches, fall down, notches, fall down, because the distance from beginning to end is enormously wide, as the Grand Canyon. So the best way to do that is to shorten it and call it a one good trade, so that I consider what I need to do, and then in between I can rest. My mind can rest. It's over. The trade is over. When I take that one trade and I take that trade solution, I dump it in there, my mind is free. My mind is free from the drudgery and the intense thinking that's required to keep focused on something, but I don't need to do that because the trade is already over. As soon as I package it up, I put it in there, the heavy thinking, lifting is over. The market is doing something with it, but because the thinking has already been taken care of, it's taken care of. And so trading is walking on tightrope. If I have to walk on a tightrope, the shorter it is, the better it is, so that I can step on the. It's even better just gliding over it, not even stepping on it. Okay, because I won't even need that balancing bar, essentially, which is the emotion that carries from one trade to the next trade. Okay, so it's something that I could not conclude, but all these things are fitting together now to show me what trading really is about. It's about walking on tightrope. Yeah.